Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Listening Human Intelligence. And as always, let's get right into it. And today we're talking with Darryl about inflation. I'm going to let Darryl say a few things about himself first. Hi, Darryl.
Hey guys, how are you? Nice. Thanks for having me, Brett. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun to talk about inflation today because inflation used to bother me and it doesn't anymore. So I'm a freedom mentor to my tribe and to my group. And that's why it's going to be fun talking about this because I'm not affected by it anymore because I think I have a great understanding about this topic.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what we need because in my opinion, let's start right away. So, in my opinion, it feels like it's been going on for too long. It's like usually you have like we used to having recessions and they start like every 10 years they start, but then the recession follows. And now it's just like people are waiting for a recession. It's not happening. It's not happening. So why it's not happening?
So my belief why it's happening is because it's a way to generate revenue. And if you inflation tactics for hundreds of years have always been to raise revenue. So why do they need to raise revenue right now? If you look at the last now I'm thinking about it, the last 4 years now, and all the government spending and post COVID pandemic, scandemic, that's why we're having inflation now is somebody has to pay for that. So that's why it's dragging
Oh,
on.
okay. Now it makes sense in that point as well because our we had to pay for all those vaccines. Well, not well, kind of we, but the countries they had to pay for the governments. They had to pay for all those vaccines, and like you're saying, now they have to make the money back.
Yeah, I'm originally from Canada. I left that country because of politics almost 3 years ago now when this started happening. And you know, up there it is real bad. They were giving money to people for to stay home, and I'm aware of that in the states as well. I don't know how much money, but never mind just paying the pharmaceutical companies for vaccines. Look at the money they paid the people to stay home. So again, it's recovering that money. This inflation session, I would call it, is larger and taking longer than normal because we have not had big paybacks because of the post-pandemic, and that's why it's taking longer, and that's why the increases are much higher than we've seen in previous inflation sessions.
Hmm. And how long you think it's gonna keep on going in your mind? What's
Wow.
gonna happen? What's gonna happen in 2024?
Well, my hope and opinion is that it is crumbling now. There are signs that things that are creating the recessions or the people in power are crumbling. It's been 4 years now. It's time. I really do believe energetically, spiritually, I'm in tune to a lot of things going on in the world. I don't know if your audience is or not, but the changes in the physical world are actually happening. So I really believe that this had to go on this long. I really need, I really believe the need that people had to struggle and people had to see the government corruption so
Hmm.
we more as a collective can see what is actually going on, because when the people do not see and they just follow the leader, um, sometimes these leaders can lead us down dark holes. So I do believe that a lot of people have become more awake to to the corruption, to how business is really done on a bigger level. And that's why I believe that we, the people, are going to stand up like in other countries. If you look around in other countries, it's happening now. And I'm so happy about this because these are the things that needed to happen. The humans needed to stand up for the collective, for the human race, from the people who are leading these people down a dark path. So I do believe that it's going to switch. I do believe that people are more in tune on strategies on how to get out of the trap of it affecting them and inflation. Because if you really look at it, there's one class of people that's being affected by inflation. It's not at the poverty level because they're being taken care of, and it's not at the wealthy level because they have the deeper pockets. They don't really care how much gas is or bread is. So
Mhm.
it's the middle class and the retirees who are really feeling this pinch. The fixed income people are the ones who are really feeling it. But I honestly believe that 2024 is going to be a year that it turns around and that system crumbles. That is my hope. That is
Mhm.
my belief, and that's where I'm leaving my train of thought because I honestly do believe that.
Mhm. For me, it seems like that as well. One thing, and I want your opinion on that. It seems to me that it's like you say, the middle class is the one that's affected on it because there's nothing to take away from poor because they don't have anything. But there's the really rich ones. They have already settled, so there's no ways to take something from them. So now the middle class is the one that the different governments in different countries, they have something they can take from. And like you were saying, maybe this is a time for that middle class to understand that things are not as steady as they thought it will be.
Yeah, it affects the middle class because the middle class are in their comfort zones, and
Hmm.
once everything is paid, they're comfortable. They're just being led. They don't even really think. They're just, struggling day by day to, you know, the middle class thinks of money as I need to maintain my good credit so I can borrow and get more things that we've been programmed to believe that we think is going to make us happy. So this is where the government plans their execution act is with the middle class, because number one, if you look at it as a game, the middle class is the biggest population.
Hmm.
They can't get anything from the poor and poverty class people, and the rich have protections in place. They have trusts, they have businesses that protect them. They have ways to make more money when inflation hits. They just increase their income. So yeah, again, it affects the middle class the most. So that's where they're targeting.
Hmm. But it seems to me that the middle class still, me personally, where I'm located and everything, or what I see, that not all of them understand or see, like we were saying, like people have to start seeing that this is why it's happening, so people will start seeing what's going on. But it seems like a lot of them, they still don't understand that it's affecting them, and they think it's gonna just keep on going up and they're gonna keep on getting more money because of that, not understanding that there's a plan at the end of that, this thing, to take their money away. So they still, I think there's room for them. I think there might be some like awakening for the middle class is start like you said, it's starting, but I think more of them this year they just gonna, if they're not gonna understand, they just gonna see it.
Right. So we had to go through that bad time so it would wake up people. So I believe that what we've gone through in the last 4 years, now that I'm on this side of it, I see it as a good thing so it could wake up the public. So it just to make it simplified for your audience and the people who don't really understand inflation, my rule of thumb being a street smart entrepreneur for 33 years now has I have the wisdom to say in every situation, follow the money. You can't rely on what's said on the news.
Hmm.
It's all it the corrupt government owns every single news channel. So
Hmm.
you cannot depend on that. So if you go to human intelligence and say, hey, who profits if you follow the money? Here's my example. If you follow the damn money, you're going to see that this is all a damn game. And when you follow the money, you're going to see who's making the money on inflation, which is a strategy. And when you look at it simply like that, without any emotions and simply, hey, who's profiting right now? The government who implemented all these things to create inflation, which trickles down to the middle class where they shop, like Walmart and Costco, which, if you look deeper into it, and those are two examples. I'm sure you know what I mean. If you look
Hmm.
deeper into it, all these large elites who created this system actually own all the large corporations. So,
Hmm.
oh, inflation, they make excuses of this and that, and then we go to the stores and complain about the inflated prices. Well, who's actually profiting? It, it's the large corporations and the government in power who is profiting. And if we could keep it as simple as that, that's what people need to recognize and realize. And that's why I believe that as soon as this government power shifts or is taken over or comes back to the people, that things will regulate and get back to normal. I've heard that we're not even going to pay for electricity because we're abundant in electricity in the future. So a lot of exciting things coming down the pipe, I believe. But if people could realize that it's a friggin' business, that's all it is. And if you look at who profits, it's where the middle class spend their money. And that's how it's creating such a huge revenue burst for the people who created the damn inflation.
Hmm. I'm gonna have a little bit of different question as well, Daryl, for your opinion, because you have your theories about that. Uh, what do you think? Because now that artificial intelligence gonna be kind of, it's gonna be in charge of the money in certain point, because most of our money is now just numbers on the screen. So, and one thing that I'm thinking and talking about is that pretty much already now artificial intelligence can rotate money by itself, with itself, and doesn't even need human consumption. It doesn't need humans to rotate and produce money. So how that's gonna infect, have you thought about it? How that's gonna infect our future, and how people's gonna get paid, because they're not gonna be needed for consumption, and they're not gonna be some of them, to some point they still need, and we still gonna need services, and we still gonna need things, but their money can be just generated and rotated by artificial intelligence. So
Yeah,
what are
that's
the humans
that's
gonna be?
That's an interesting question that I can't answer. I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. It's very, very deep on, and there are many different ways it can go. So I can't have any input to that exact question, but I can tell you what I'm doing to not worry about it. So my old self, I used to work hard for money, and now I create digital businesses that produce income for me. So, and what happens also, I've closed my LLC because of new government regulations that actually just took effect January 1st this year with the new Corporate Transparency Act. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but if you're in business for yourself with an LLC or an S corp or any form of government issued business, they have a new way of tracking more than you would prefer. And when it comes to all your expenses, when it comes to income, and this is another tax grab where they're going to be putting pressure on small business owners because they know small business owners, there's a great revenue pool that come from small business owners. So, talking about money, I have a digital income business, and now I have a trust that's completely protected. And all my earned money, however that may be, and I'm curious to how that's going to be in the future. But right now, all of my earned money goes into a trust. I do not own anything. And this is a new strategy that the wealthy have been using for years and years and years, that the average Joe, the average business person just doesn't know. They open up an LLC and they run their business, and they're so
Mhm.
busy, running their business with doing the skills that they know how. They just don't know on how to protect their money, how to make more money, and do things that way. So if to give you a perfect example of OJ Simpson, he has been sued for I don't know how much by the Goldman family, and they haven't received a penny because he was set up in a trust, which is complete protection from people and actually the government. This has been tested for, I'm working with a lawyer. It's been tested for 80 years. There's 4 generations in this law firm that I'm working with to help people get out of their businesses and create trusts for government protection. So if you haven't learned anything yet, I'm not a big government person. I'm a freedom fighter. I do everything in my power to stay out of the radar of the government. I do everything in my power to be able to create more income that combats this inflation. It has not affected me whatsoever. It's actually exciting for me because right now I'm creating digital businesses. I'm helping other people create digital businesses. I'm creating partnerships with people who have digital businesses, and we're increasing our income now to take advantage of the big, huge transfer in wealth that I do believe is coming. And so, what me and my people are doing is we're positioning ourselves with more income to be able to take action on real estate. I'm a real estate investor and a digital business creator. So I do not even own a home right now, although that would be an unpopular fact of, the American dream. The American dream, folks, is a scam that keeps the people, the elites, profiting from you. Who made up the American dream is the actual people who created the banks, because they needed some product to sell every single human being on the planet, and that was in form of a home mortgage. They sold you that you need to own your own home, but it's really not the best wealth strategy out there, you guys. So
Mhm.
as far as money and currency goes in the future, I can't speak to that, but I did touch up on money and how to beat inflation, and on how we can protect ourselves in the future with this new Corporate Transparency Act, if it even stays in effect. The people in power today have put the Corporate Transparency Act into place to suck money from the small business owners. So hopefully that won't be a problem in the future. But that's how me and my people are kind of combating inflation. So I'm curious too to see the forms of money, how we use money, how we get
Mhm.
paid in the future. I'm really curious about that as well.
Yeah, I'm curious about it, so I want to see how they're gonna man. Like they have to have some kind of plans, and I think that that's maybe one of the reasons. Like people are against that income that they're gonna start giving to the people. I don't know what it's called, but I'm not looking forward it to be controlled, but they have to figure out some kind of form how people just gonna get monthly money or income or outcome. So I think it's like you are taking, like it's interesting to see how it's all gonna change because it all has to change completely from what we used to with.
Yeah, are you referring to, I'm going to butcher the name, but Nasero Jacero, something like that? Are you familiar with that? Have you heard of that before?
I don't, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a rumor, and I heard something about um, when the world takes over again, that there is so much money in this world that, again, I'm butchering the name, Nacero Jacero, is something where we as the people take back power of this whole world. And if you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, there is tons of money in this world, and if it was divided between all the humans and the amount of money in the world, this is supposed to be where we're getting. This is not the current government's plan. This is the new plan for the new future, and this is just from what I hear. I do not know this. Everything I've
Mhm.
talked about before is definitely my strong beliefs. I'm just talking about rumors now, and bringing to light on something that once this old government gets crushed, that we're the new power, the new rulers are going to give back to the human race, the human collective, and that's in forms of taking all this big, huge corporation. I believe it's crumbling. I really do. So we're going to get a piece of that, and that's how I believe, and what I've heard. I don't know,
Mhm.
but that's how I believe and heard that we're all going to be looked after, not by a corrupt government, but by a new form of leadership that actually helps the humans. So that would be interesting because that will eliminate suffering, that will eliminate poverty, that will eliminate jealousy and envy of people who have more, which is all negative emotions and negative feelings. If you look at it, Brett, if you look at it, the people in power now are creating fear, they're creating
Yes.
envy, they're creating
Mhm.
jealousy, they're creating all kinds of things for the human race to think and believe, which actually going deeper is all negative vibrations. I might be going a little deep in
That's
this
okay.
war. This war we're in is not political. I've been talking about politics. This war we're in is not political. This war we're in is way bigger than that. It's actually good and evil from a 30,000 foot view, and you know that
Mhm.
good always prevails. So that's what I am hoping. I hope we take over all this corruption that's going on in humanity for decades and hundreds of years. And I do believe that it's going to turn around because the world is shifting. It's not my belief, it's not a political thing. The world energetically is
Mhm.
changing right now. And the devil or the evil or the corruption cannot fight this any longer. And that's why I think this is all getting blown up. It had to get blown up in social media. It had to be, it had to get really bad. Like the 4 years, people got the shit kicked out of them in the last 4 years.
Mhm.
Jobs away. Um,
Housings.
completely shift in life. Like businesses close. I had a business close. That's why I escaped
Mhm.
Canada. They completely turned off a business that I had. I had no control of that. That's why I came to a freedom state where I can actually be in control. But I do believe that we're going to prevail.
I believe so too. It's all this thing we have to get through, but just to people who understand what's going on now, I think. My somehow, and I don't know why, I have like the 10 years in my head, like about the 2032. That's where we're gonna have like everything's gonna be already like completely the new order maybe in or something like this. Because last 10 years has been the time that it's like everything has already changed so much with the,
Absolutely.
yeah, just with the
I hope
different.
it doesn't I hope it doesn't take to 2030, but I do realize that yeah, nothing happens overnight. And actually looking into this, it before the pandemic, it actually started before that. It started in 2017. So like you say, at 10 years, we're not very far off. I
Yeah.
hope it doesn't take till 2030, but a lot of people the millennials are worried about their kids, and a lot of baby boomers are saying, "Oh my God, the kids are in trouble." I really don't believe they're going to be in trouble. We're the people, the Gen Xers,
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that are going through and are going to see this huge transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the Gen Xers are the generation that's feeling this the most. I really do believe that the younger generation and the kids today will be completely fine. I didn't believe that at
Yeah.
first. I used to think the latter, but now I really do believe that my grandchildren are going to be completely fine.
Yeah, I believe so too. I think they're gonna be the ones who they're gonna actually make the changes, and they see that they already grow up seeing that the things are wrong, so they don't have to follow the old rules and old standards, and then they're gonna be able to follow up and make all the changes. So by the time they're gonna be adults, they have they the ones who a lot of things gonna be already fixed, but they gonna keep on fixing all the things. But what I meant by um 2032 is like that's in my mind when everything's gonna be already settled. Like all this things gonna start already settling already next year's and this year and everything like this. By that year we already gonna have the new everything completely okay, like things are done, we're done with this old things, and we have the new already like settle like set.
I agree so much. And I want to add something about that because as you were saying that, I thought of something, and it's so exciting actually. So I'm a Gen Xer and I'm going to see this transformation. I'm also going to see the healthcare crumble, and we're going to see med beds. I don't know if your people or you have heard about med beds. That the technology has been around for a long time, where we just go in these beds. We're not depending on healthcare systems anymore, because you got to remember how much money is in the healthcare system
Oh, crazy.
now. Oh my, it fuels everything. So if
Hmm.
the healthcare was system was to crumble, that's where the elites, a lot of the elites, get a lot of their money. So so I believe that humans are going to be living way longer lives. There's med beds that we as humans can go in, and it's going to pinpoint where your problems are, and it's going to energetically align us and our chakras and take care of the dis-ease. Remember what disease is? It's a dis-ease in the body, and the pharmaceutical companies give you a pill to stay on for the rest of your life
Exactly.
to combat the symptoms, but they do not get rid of the dis-ease. So these med beds, I believe, are going to be huge in the near future. Like you said, in 2020, 30, I believe these med beds will be available to every human being on the planet. There will be no cancer anymore. There will be no diabetes anymore. You go in a med bed, and energetically everything is completely aligned back for you, which is going to in turn create longevity in our lives, which makes me happy. I'm 58 this month, so I'm not now looking at, I got 20 years. I think I got 40 years now, which that's just a hope. But I do believe that humans will be living longer in the future. So we're going to see a lot of this big, huge transition. And as Gen Xers, what we're going to see is quite the show.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future for all the changes and everything. It's going to be so interesting to see because you were saying the age, and I think there's much more. Like I think it's going to be average, going to be 100. I think that's going to be completely like average old age,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
um, and the way I see it as well, I'm 42 right now, and I'm thinking of when by for me to live to 80, it's another 40 years, 40 years of changes and everything that we're gonna have. That's just, I'm so interested in seeing it all. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
curious and I'm ready to see all the changes, technology, all the things. Like, I'm not, like, a lot of people get scared because they're scared of change, but we do need a scale. We needed a change already a long time ago, and that's why we're having this change right now.
Yeah, it has to crumble before it gets better. If you look back in your life and life lessons and things that happen to you and every human being who's listening, if you look back, things had to get bad for you to be able to see, for rock bottom for you to be able to go back up. Things had to crumble before they got better. The universe had to put you in discomfort so you would move out of discomfort. And that's why the
Exactly.
comfort right? It's a funny cycle how things happen. So to help you and talk about comfort zones and how people are so comfort and seeing change. So I started. Remember my business got turned off in Canada. So talking about comfort zones, here's what I did, which is a very inspiring story. So I escaped a country. The border was closed. We can't get into that, but it's crazy escaping communist country because I didn't trust what the government was going to do. I come to a new country, started a new product and service because my old one got turned off in the
Mhm.
digital world, starting from scratch in a new country with a new product and service, no credit in the country. So, just to combat, it does not take money to make money, folks. It takes courage to make money. That's a big misconception in this world that we were programmed to believe. It does not take money. So I've started from scratch and I'm building $1 million business in 365 days. I have the frameworks to do it. And that's why inflation doesn't bother me. That's why comfort zones, once I learned about comfort zones and how to get out of them, is the only way to excel. So that's a little bit of inspiring story for people who have all the excuses. Well, the world is crumbling right now. The people in power are wrecking are wrecking the world. Gas is so much. Real estate we can't invest in anymore because the inflation rates and the interest rates, and there are so many excuses out there that stop people in their tracks. But once you get past all that fear, I used to be afraid of all that in the last few years as well. But in the last year, now I'm on the other side and I'm completely excited and not affected by what's going on in the world. And that's really a place where humans need to operate in and to be in, is a place of not worrying what's going
Mhm.
on, because you're feeding you're feeding the devil with negative emotions, and you're vibing at a vibration that attracts all the things that you think about that you don't want. So I don't know, I got a little bit deep into that, but I don't know your audience, but that's really what's happening on an energetic and deeper level, looking past all the political and 3D reality.
Yeah. Well, let me say one thing first as well for audience and everything. Like, that's what I'm going for. Like, I'm going for like deep conversations that the people not we're not having anymore as much. People just go even like those
Mhm.
really popular shows like talk shows or podcasts. They just go on and just is talking the same thing over and over. They don't really have conversation. They just go on and say the same thing. They go to a different podcast. They say the same story again, and they just telling the same story over and over without having a conversation. There's only a few. shows that are like you can follow, and they actually get into a conversation about things and say like, can honestly say like, "Oh, I don't know," or I'm just thinking about it, or this is my idea, like having that type of conversations. So that's what I'm
Right.
looking for as well.
Right. People don't go deep enough. They talk about the superficial 3D things and they argue back and forth or give points, but okay, we all know that already. We already know that. Let's go deeper and dive into why is this happening? What is the game plan? And really to how to get out of it. Okay, I understand the game now. How the hell do I get out of it? I
Yeah,
think is the best conversation to be having. We all heard about the stories of what's going on. We're all more aware now. The conversation should be, hey, how do I escape this matrix bullshit? Should be the
yeah.
conversations.
Let's talk. That's going to be the next one. But let me tell you one story as well. Like you were saying with your business, when you changed and you took advantage of different situations, that reminded me that I was born in Soviet Union, and
Mm,
I remember when that all fell apart. And the people, they were like, most people were scared. They didn't know what's going to happen. Same way, like now, most people are scared. They don't know what's going to happen. They want the old things back. But there were a handful of people in my small country, Estonia, that they saw opportunities. They took advantage, and they the ones who actually made it really big with the businesses,
yes.
their life, and everything, because they saw opportunities in that everything that was going down, but somehow they figure out how to get out and what to do, and they built big businesses. They made money. They made good life for themselves and everything. And now those are the people who are in charge now because they took the opportunity of that things going down. So let's go, Daryl, now to you were saying like how what should people do to escape or not to be scared and get to the next point through this inflation.
Yeah, well, so that is my story too. I am the same story. I am that guy. And what helped me, like I was crumbled. I was completely crumbled when the government turned off my business and said, get in your house and we're going to hold you down and force these vaccines on you. So I could have been one of the ones who conformed to that, or you can be the one who combats that and say, hey, I got to get out of this. I got to figure this out because they're leading me down a path I don't want to go to. So, what opportunities are there out there in this particular circumstance? And this is what led me to, completely changing my environment. Well, I had to take my physical body out of the country I was in because that's my physical environment I could not control. So now I control my physical environment into a freedom country where there are opportunities. And I had to start a new business looking at the world. What do people need? And that's how I restarted. And then I looked at my skills. Well, I'm at 50 years old. I until I was 50 years old, I was taught and brought up to work hard for money. And I
Hmm.
worked hard and I played hard and I made a lot of money. And I was living in $1 million home and I had a beautiful lifestyle from the outside, but I did not have any time freedom. I used to work
Hmm.
12, 14 hours a day to make that type of income that we were programmed to believe that we needed. Um, and then and when I had a health scare, I completely within 6 months turned to the digital business game,
Hmm.
because this is where, see, there's four quadrants of income. I'll explain this a little bit. There's four quadrants of income where humans fall into. You can either be an employee, you can be self-employed, you can be a business owner, or you can be an investor. So until I was 50 years old, I was in the self-employment quadrant. I was there was no caps on my income like an employee. So I was the next level in charge of my own business with no caps on my income. But unfortunately, I just owned my job where there was caps on my time. There was caps on how much I could produce in my old business, which became caps in my income. So what shifted everything for me is see wealthy people, and I had money. Wealth has nothing to do with just money. Wealth is time, it's freedom, it's waking up in the morning doing what you prefer to do every
Mhm.
single day. Wealth is for me personally was not dragging my ass out of bed from Monday to Friday and going to a job that aggravated me, that frustrated me because I didn't have time. I was just over broke, although making a couple hundred grand a year. I was still just over broke because my lifestyle just kept going up because that's how we were programmed to believe. So, getting back to the quadrants where I was stuck in self employment, I completely made the jump into business owner and investor quadrants because that's where the wealthy people live. That's where you don't have to worry about inflation. That's where you wake up in the morning and do what you want. You're not trading your time for money anymore. So that's a huge shift that I make. And that's how I help people. They don't know how to get out of the employment and self employment quadrants and jump into the business owner quadrant. And the difference between the two is employees and self-employed people are selling products and services or trading their time for money. In the business owner quadrant, we create systems that actually generate income for us. And now,
Mhm.
because we're not capped on how much we can create, like I have digital products, I could have 100 people sign up today, right now, and I could fulfill those orders. In my previous business as a granite countertop, I had a granite countertop business
Mhm.
with employees. We could not produce any more physical granite countertops in a day.
Mhm.
So once I changed into the business owner quadrant with a digital system, now I was not capped on my income anymore. Now I can increase my income like 100% times two, times three, be disciplined to live on what I used to live on, and take that rest of that big chunk of money and put it into investments. So this is how I beat inflation. Um, to answer your question, I don't even remember we got going. Now you got me going and
Yeah,
revved up.
we were talking about giving advice how like what would be the how can people get out as well, like what should they focus on or
Yeah,
something.
you need to
Some,
focus on getting out of the quadrants that are keeping you stuck. Employee and self-employment income quadrants are keeping you stuck because you still trade time for money and you've only got so much time in a day. So what do? You jump income quadrants. That is a hard thing to do when you don't know how. This is why I created my new digital income wealth membership, because we actually build the system for you. We take everyday people who have skills, existing skills from their jobs, from their employment, from health scares, from life lessons, from traumas. I work with divorce coaches who had a previous trauma in divorce. Now they teach people how to get through that post divorce problem a lot quicker. They have programs for that. I have people in who have battled health issues for years and years that they couldn't get fixed until they actually discovered holistic remedies and things to do. Now they teach that to the people with the symptoms have been fighting for years. I take people in their businesses and extract their expertise from them and create digital products from their knowledge and their skills that they can now duplicate over and over and over. So, folks, you're stuck and inflation is affecting you because you're in the employee and self-employed quadrant. It's plain and simple. If you look at it and remove emotions and remove everything and look at it as it is, as the four quadrants of income, you need to jump into the business owner quadrant so you can increase your income. Now you can increase your income and push more money into investments. And when you operate in the two quadrants of a business owner and an investor, all this bullshit in the world goes away, my friends. It truly goes away. This is my story. I've done it. I did it the hard way, and I'm completely relieved now that I've jumped into those two quadrants. It's the thing to do, and that's what I teach people to do, because I have to share this with people, because I struggled. When I say struggle, I didn't mean paying the bills, but I struggled working 10 to 14 hours a day to create a lifestyle that I had in my
Mhm.
mind. And that is not a
Uh,
rich life, my friends. That is
yeah, that
not a
is not
rich
good.
life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a rich life. And rich, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about money. Now I work, I wake up every morning. I have to-do lists that I'm done at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I
Mm-hmm.
completely spend every single day. There's no Monday to Friday anymore. It's just time, and I
And
do
that,
what I want, and I work on projects, and I help people. And when I help other people, showing the process and actually a done for you system that does it for them, that gets them over the hump of being having to be, okay, how do I just jump into the business owner quadrant? Well, if I could just help you get there, and you had a title now of a business owner and a system that's done for you, and I showed you how to market it, that's how you become an identity in the business owner quadrant. So that's how I help people, because that is the thing that helped me and got me out of all the worry, all of the fear, all of the unknown. What am I going to do? Brett, I do not think of that anymore. I am
mm-hmm.
completely removed myself. Actually, as I speak in videos, I do a lot of videos, and I call it two different worlds now. I completely come out and say there are two different worlds. There is the world in fear and not knowing what's going on. And I think that's why you wanted to talk about inflation today, because it puts people in fear. But if you can figure out a way to get out of that matrix, out of all that crap, and operate outside in the new world, this is what I'm doing. And this is what I teach people. Because bottom line, it just creates a happier life. When you don't have any worries, financial stress, and worries about the future, you become naturally happy. And when you become
Mm-hmm.
naturally happy, income just flows to you now. It's the law of attraction, and income just flows to you, and you're happier. And now, when you're happier, that vibration and energetic level touches other people, and it makes this world a better place. That's what I stand for. That's why I'm a freedom mentor. I help people bust out of that matrix of low vibration, scarcity, and fear. And I wish everybody could just see the light and say, hey, there are people to help you escape this matrix, and just take a chance. Not everything is a scam. That was programmed into
Mm-hmm.
all human beings so they wouldn't get out of their comfort zone, so they would stay in a fear state, in a low vibration energetic level, where dis-ease comes into the humans and actually fuels the pharmaceutical and medical field. And that's why I believe there's two fields. Two worlds. I have not been to a doctor forever. I do not take one pill for anything. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
58. Next week is my birthday. I'm 58 next week. I do not take pills for anything. I completely live in a different new world. And that's what I wish for everybody.
Yeah. I'm with you there, Daryl. The same thing with the health and everything, because like I've at least 9 years now. I have not been like I do the checkups and everything and all this, but it's just like you feel healthier. You don't get to that system. You don't want to get in that system where they try to keep you in the system. Doctors, they won't like doctors. They're not like before. They don't want you to get out. They want you to get in and pay them as much as possible to keep on going. So
There's
they
no
don't want,
money if you think
yeah,
about the bigger picture. There's no money in healthy people.
exactly. Which there can be, and it will going to be in the future. They just have to
Absolutely.
rearrange and have the new systems and everything. And the healthy people are gonna be your customers because you're gonna do prevention and you're gonna do it for enjoyment and like happiness and mood and all this. You don't need to keep them unhealthy anymore because you're gonna figure out how to. The people are gonna figure out how to keep them healthy and joyful and enjoying life. And I think I agree with you. That's gonna be the new life where the people they're gonna, and it's hard to for people to understand because they not seen it. A lot of people are not able to see what it's not there. They're not able to
Mhm.
imagine. So they just see what always has been and they try to go what always has been. But
Well, for those people, Perrette, for those people, I want to tell them that a different life does exist. It does
mhm,
exist. Just because you're not aware of it or living it yet, it does exist. I just took on a new client and she didn't come up with a product. She was introduced to a new product that actually if she puts an app on her phone and she can talk to customers across the world and record their voice. And in that voice vibration comes out with a printout. It tells you which chakra is out of aligned. It tells you if your blood pressure is high. It tells you if you have food allergies. This is with voice vibration, which I didn't realize until I started working with her that our fingerprints are unique to us.
mhm,
Our retinas in our eyes are unique to us.
yeah,
And what was brought to my attention is our voice vibrations are unique to us. And she has this friggin' system where I can speak to her over the computer and she can assess my voice vibrations and give me a printout of everything. She says, "Do you have pain in your lower back?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I've had it for years." It picks up that. So it's preventative medicine. She can say, "You've got
mhm,
this coming, or do you feel this? How is your right eye stronger than your left?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "If you went to an optometrist and they did a test on that, you would see that your right eye is weaker than your left." So these are the technologies that are coming out that blew my mind. This is one of the women who I'm helping promote this product because I believe in it so much. And like you said, there are new things coming out. That's one new thing, preventative medicine, that you get 4 scans a year. It shows you what's going on with your body, and now you have to do some research to adjust on what the formula was printed out for you. So there's work. You just can't pop a pill anymore. No, you
mhm.
can't. But it gives you a printout, what's wrong with your body. So now you can take preventative measure before dis-ease sets in. So there's talking about new technology about healthcare. There's one right there that I was introduced to, and I started working with a woman.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to say, we were, oh, with all the things that's going to that business owner section and also going to the for the new generations, like the young people, that's really important for young people. It's for the older ones as well. They have to figure it out. But I'm telling for the younger and for my child, I have 9-year-old daughter, and I'm not teaching her to be an employee, and I don't think other people should teach now to their kids as well how to live the way they lived because they already not living in the world that we lived in, and in
Exactly.
when they're gonna be adult, it's gonna be completely different. So what I'm teaching her is same way, like have some kind of digital business that gets you income, and then for yourself you can just do whatever you want to do. You can be like artist or actually a doctor or whatever. So whatever your job is going to be is not going to be what your income has to be.
Right.
So your job can be whatever you want because you love it, you enjoy it, and that's what you do. But your income is coming from that other quadrant, the way you're saying. So money, you monthly or whatever your income needs to be, that comes from there, and then you have there all the time to do what you like to do and what you're gifted to do and everything like this.
When you live like that, it creates a happier life. So, and a happier life creates more income because it's the law of attraction. So there's so many people who are just over broke. And if you look at every single person who's just over broke, I mean with good jobs, middle class, two nice cars, gorgeous house, maybe a cottage, they're still over broke at a different level. And what do those people think about constantly? How they're going to pay for these cars, how they're going to pay for that cottage,
Mhm.
where are they going to get the money for the bigger house? See, and when they consistently think about these things, it puts them in a lower vibration state, which keeps them in that loop of scarcity and wanting. So getting back to you to your child and the millennials and a lot of us older generation, when I talk to people, it's like those damn millennials, they're just lazy.
No.
And I get it because I'm in that generation, but because I'm not in the old world, I understand that, hey, they don't want to do what we do.
Mhm.
My grandfather used to walk to school 10 miles in the snow. I didn't want to do that when I was a kid. So we're evolving. So I don't believe the millennials are going to be in trouble. I think there's a certain section who paid for college for 4 or 5 years and went to the indoctrination system for 12, and they paid all that money now because their parents helped them and they have parental influences and money commitments, that why millennials are in trouble because they feel and they're getting pushed into things that they don't want to do. And the ones who are busting out, if you look at it, if you look at it, the ones who are in trouble, who can't pay the college loans back and all their school loans back, are the ones who are trying to make it in the old world, in the employee
Yep.
quadrant. If you look at it basically, and then the ones who are making it and living in a world of high vibes and happiness are the ones who said, I don't believe that. I'm sorry, mom. I'm sorry, dad. I'm sorry, aunt, uncle. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
friends. I'm leaving this bullshit behind. I'm going to learn new skills. Actually, there's only 4 damn skills that you need to learn today to make it huge in the world. And the ones who are making it dropped all that programming and they learned personal branding, communication, how to work on the computer, how to create digital businesses, help how to help other businesses work on the internet. And those are the millennials who are flying today, making more money in 1 month than their parents make in
Mhm.
1 year. So
Mhm.
this is the shift that people need to see and make. It's not the same damn world anymore. So you have to pivot into the new world, into the new environment that's happening right now. And that's why I'm 58. It was hard for me to jump from old school. I had a beautiful business to the digital freaking world, but I did it. I modeled somebody and I followed the process. I paid them to help me, and now I live in that digital new world. And it's absolutely amazing. I encourage every single human being to leave the old world behind because it's way better over here.
Mhm. Well, there as well. Like when you were talking right now, it made me think of um, right now. Before it was like the older people that had to work all life and to all life hard to get to that certain point of money wise, like having a lot of money. They had to work all life hard, and then they maybe became like millionaires or like at least comfort level to retire. And now it's completely different. It's so much harder for the older people make any kind of money, and the young people who know the new systems, there's so many millionaires and people like young kids, not millionaires one, but a lot of them are, but still there's much more young people making more money than the older people now making with doing it all this old system of hard work.
Yeah, because if you look at the two categories you just talked about, and you look at, okay, what system are they using to create income, you're going to see it's exactly what we talked about. The old people are using the old system of income,
Mhm.
and the young people are using the new system of income. It's black and white, Brett. It's as simple as that, my friend.
Mm-hmm. And it just made me think as well, like people who say young people are lazy, they're not lazy. They just figure out how to get the
Yes.
same amount of money easier way. You know,
Yes.
it's like I don't need to work all these 40 hours to make less. I can work whatever 20 hours or less and make more than you making with that hard work. So that's kind of like they're not they're not lazy. They I would say they just smarter.
They're evolving. They're evolving into the new times that don't exist anymore. The old times don't exist anymore. Only for the
Exactly.
people who are dragging it and in their comfort zones and don't want to learn new skills. Yeah, it takes new skills. Absolutely. You know that. It takes new
Mhm.
skills. So a lot of people don't want to learn. They're not into personal self-development. And guys, if I want to add something here, to make this jump, to make this shift, to make your life better, to not worry about inflation, there are strategies for that. And I can give you a strategy, and most people won't follow it because they don't understand that transformation and change comes from the inside first. You have to be done, completely done with the old system. I just signed up a man, worked at the post office. He's 60 years old. He's still working at the post office. He said to me, he says, I'm 60. I can't retire. I just want to do what I want to do every day. That man deserves to do what he wants to do every day. And we looked at his passions and his skills, and we created a product and a digital um, business around his actual hobby that he absolutely loves doing. And now
Mhm.
when I showed him, I said, Vince, you only need to sell so many of these
Mhm.
things on this planet to make more money that you struggle to make with that you've worked for 30 damn years that you can't even retire yet because you don't have enough money for inflation. And he was like, oh my God, this is what I needed. I wish I would have done this 10 years ago. Right. So it's a,
Mhm.
folks, this is a mental game. This whole world and how we evolve and how we operate in this world is a completely mental game, and nothing is going to transform unless you transform from the inside out. And that is the biggest shift that I had to realize. Like I said, I'm not a young person, and I had to learn new skills. I had to realize what was not working, and I had to be committed to learning new things and getting out of my comfort zone and doing those things. But once you learn how to do those things and you have different habits and you have different skills, it's funny how your environment automatically changes once you change your mindset, your habits, your skills. Your new environment is just automatically created when you do the top work that's needed.
Mhm. Well, we have to start closing as well. This is a really good conversation. I will keep on going on, but I wanted to just say one thing that I noticed as well. You said for that man with the post office that should have done 10 years ago. A lot of people, and I like this new term that's going around, is the presentism. And
Yeah.
like people to understand 10 years ago, you couldn't do it. So now, like, understand what we've been talking about all through the show. You have to understand that we're in a new life. What you were doing before is not the thing anymore. It's not like you could have done anything differently in the past, but right now in the present is you have to change what you're doing to have a better future. You can't be doing keep on doing what you did 10 years ago or what you were doing before. Right now in this now our reality now. We have to start doing completely new things to have a better future.
Yeah, people need to realize that if something doesn't work, folks, change it. Like when you touch a hot stove and you were young, you do not keep touching that hot stove. And this is a perfect analogy because me in the new world, looking at people who are struggling to get out of their comfort zone, it's as simple as that. I go, why do you keep fucking touching the hot stove, folks? Like, switch, change can be good. Change can be enlightening. What are you afraid to change? You're making yourself miserable by sticking and not changing. What if change was the thing that you needed that brought you all the happiness in the world? Change, folks, and that's why I teach mindset, going deeper to the people. Like, I create systems for them, but part of that in this entrepreneurial toolkit that I give them is the mindset part, because people hear about mindset, just change your mindset. Well, it's not that easy just to change your
Mhm,
mindset. If we could
mhm.
just, we've heard it for years now. It's all mindset. It's all mindset.
Yeah.
Where this is where I go deeper and I actually show people why they're not changing their mindset. We go deeper and we
Mhm,
focus in on why you're not, just if you know you need to change your mindset, why aren't you? Again,
mhm.
it all comes back from changing from the inside out.
Yeah, and then you have to take action as well. Well, before we close, I have two things. First, I want you to tell people it's for the everybody is watching. All the contact information for Darryl is in the description as well, websites and contact information. So you can look it there. But Darryl, what is the best way for people to get in contact with you and they take get your services you're providing?
Yeah. So the first thing I recommend is doing a strategy call so we can see, hey, where are you? What are your skills? What are your passions? What is your old job? And I can enlighten you and give you some ideas and uncover some opportunities that you don't see, that you have inside of you right now, that can become money making ideas. So I do these calls. I'm beautiful at extracting knowledge that could help others and create income for you. So the first step is do a strategy call with me, and if you just want to learn how a beginner with no product, no service, no idea can start an internet business, go to
Mm-hmm.
virtualwealthcreators.com. I'm going to explain how to do that. And if you're struggling online right now, if you have an online business, but it's a side gig and it hasn't taken over your your old school income yet, or if you've dropped the old school income and you're dedicating this on it, but you're struggling to make money, I also have a video for that on virtualwealthcreators.com. But I would suggest do a strategy call with me and we can see where you are, what to do, and I can kind of guide you in that direction. Uncovering and guidance would be the first step. Taking stock, taking stock where you are and what I see in you without any mental, emotional restrictions, what I see in you, what you could be doing, and I'll kind of guide you and give you suggestions that way. It's totally free. It's a game changer for people. When I have this one 30-minute conversation, people come out and it's like a couple examples I give you was like, oh my God, they have light now. They have a plan. They have a
Mm-hmm.
strategy. They have clarity. And what happens is a lot of people teach the same stuff I do, but I go the extra mile and say, would you like to do that? I'll build it for you for a low
Mm-hmm.
monthly fee instead of costing you thousands of dollars to start. So
Mm-hmm.
that is the best way. Have a reach out, do a strategy call. The link will be in the description here, and
Mm-hmm.
let me help you figure your stuff out. Everybody is different. Every single human being is different. That's why I like to personalize these things. That's how I do it.
Mm-hmm. And for the viewer, it can be something that's in your blind spot, and you don't see it, then Daryl can bring it up to you. Like I would like with the questions and uh, conversation with you, somebody else sees your blind spots that you don't see. So you need somebody else looking from outside because you might not be realizing how many opportunities you actually have.
Yeah,
So
let me close with one thing that's going to really hit home to what you just said. And it's a quote by Albert Einstein. And it says, "You can't fix the problem, your problem, from the same level of mind that created the problem." So sometimes you need an outside influence just to
mhm,
show you something that you're not seeing, exactly what you're saying. And that's so important. And people just need to reach out. That's all they need to do is reach out and ask for help. Not everything in this world is a damn scam. And although there's no overnight successes and
mhm,
instant riches, no, I don't believe that. I believe in hard work, and it takes work to do what I'm doing,
mhm,
and it takes getting out of your comfort zone to do these new skills. But I'll tell you, there is no other get rich quick scheme like this digital game. There is no other way to produce income faster than this. You just need to reach out and ask somebody. See, that's what I did. I paid for speed when I was 50 years old. I'm not going to go learn all these things. I just paid somebody. I
yep,
modeled somebody who was living the life that I wanted. I paid for their programs, many, 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 and I modeled what they were doing. So I just paid for speed. You don't need to reinvent this.
mhm,
The people watching this, the life that you want, whether that be 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 50,000 a year with no headaches, whatever your goal is, there is a way to do it. There is somebody doing that. You just need to tap into those strategies in that way, and your life will change. Reach out. Not everything is a scam. Ask for help. There are people in
mhm,
this world today that do not have ulterior motives to take your money. Some of us actually really want to help people with a
mhm,
system that we've seen work for us, and we just want to bring you with us to create a happier world. There's
mhm,
some spiritual people in the world today that just want to help humanity, and that's I am one of them, and that's how I share. See, I could not do any of this and go live my life. I have a boat 12 feet from my back door. I could go in the boat right now and not even think about helping other people. But I'm here getting the message out because it's part of my job to help crumble the old system, to help people into this new world that's going to help humanity in the future. I hope that makes sense to you.
mhm. Yeah, it does. So for the viewers as well. So we're gonna end as well, but before I end, because what I do, I teach like a happiness expert, and I do all kinds of programs around not just like you were saying, it's not just mindset. It's like also your actions and all the things. It's not just I'm not the one who's promoting just like think positive, positive thoughts only. There's much more to happiness expert than this, but I like for all of my new guests to answer a few questions about happiness. So, Jerry, what is happiness for you from your point of view? Just you, not what mainstream thinks about happiness, but what is happiness for you?
Yeah, so I used to live $1 million lifestyle. Now I rent a 1,200 square foot place. So a completely change in lifestyle. So happiness does not mean $1 million house anymore, sports cars in the garage anymore. Happiness to me is waking up every single morning without doing what I don't want to do, with the ability to do what I want to do, to with the ability to make choices on what I want to do today that is going to make me happy. Do I feel like going for a boat ride today because it's absolutely gorgeous out and the water's calm? That is going to make me happy. I'm going to go do it. Do I feel like going on a motorcycle ride today because the wind makes the ocean choppy? I'm going to go do that. So happiness is, to me, is people have choices every minute of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to focus on every single minute of my life and making choices and moving in the direction of what lights me up. I just give you two examples. It wouldn't be everybody's piece of
Mm-hmm.
cake or what they choose. It's just what lights me up. And I choose to do the things that light me up. And I choose not to do the things that I don't want to do. And when I look at my old life, that's waking up Monday morning with a bad feeling of, and although I owned my own business, I still used to drag my
Mm-hmm.
ass out of bed. And then at Friday night, I would feel my energy level go up because Saturday morning I could do what I wanted to do. So when I look back at that difference of happiness, I wasn't as happy as I was on weekends as I was during the week. So to answer your question, being able to do whatever the frig you want on a daily basis is happiness to me. And I can speak from experience. That's what lights me up. And that's how I help others because now I'm in an energetic state where I'm always happy.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. That's really similar to mine as well. Really
Beautiful.
similar to how it is. But like you
Beautiful.
were saying, it's very specific and individual. So for example, give three things or activities that make you happy.
Doing what I
Simple.
want every morning.
No, no, no. That like specific things. Like say like you mentioned boating. So boating would be probably one.
Yeah. So the things that make me happy, I completely moved my physical body, and I'm living on the Gulf of Mexico. The boat is 12 feet from my bedroom. This makes me happy. So living where I want makes me happy. Doing what I want on a daily basis makes me happy. And now, actually, the passion I have, you can probably feel it. The other thing that makes me happy is to be able to share my newfound wisdom with others so I can help them become
Mhm.
happier human beings. Those are the three things that light me up: living where I want, doing what I want, and helping humans to become happier are the three things that light me up.
Okay, that's awesome. That's where we're gonna end up as well. Thank you, Darryl, so much for this conversation. It was really intelligent conversation. This is exactly what I'm looking for this show. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I don't usually talk about inflation and I don't have a lot of knowledge about inflation, but I give you my opinion. What I love to talk about is entrepreneurship and mindset and how they relate to a happier life. Those are my two jams. And like I said, I go deeper on the mindset than the average Joe. So those are the two things I love to talk about. If your audience wants to chat about those two things on how to help them get to the
Mhm.
next level in their life, I am here for you.
Mhm. For that, do you have anywhere? Where do you give like little talks about it? Maybe do you on your Facebook or on your channel? Where can people?
Yeah, so for me too, I'm not a person who sits on social media all day long to promote myself. What I do is I use other people's audiences. I did a podcast yesterday, and now we're doing a webinar for her people, and that's what I do. I come on and talk to groups of people, and that's how I get my customers because I resonate with you or I don't resonate with you, and my product and my service either helps you or it doesn't help you. But I'm not all over social media because I'm
Mhm,
all over people's podcasts in front of a
mhm,
lot of people. So I am on TikTok. I do a lot of I'm raw and real on TikTok. I really like to get raw. I curse, I swear. I'm a street smart entrepreneur who is spiritual, and I like to get real and raw and get down to the points, the problems. which create awareness that actually help people. So TikTok, you see a lot of little short videos. I do them all over my websites, and I do a lot of training for my people once they're in my world. Those are where my videos are.
Awesome. So everybody who's viewing, look up the TikTok and schedule that personal call. So that's my advice as well. So thank you so much, Darryl, and thank you everybody for watching. So have a great day and figure out this new life because the
Mhm.
inflation, if you figure it out, you're not going to be scared of it. And you do have to figure out because we're not going back to the old times anymore. We're going to go to the new world and you have to build your new life in a new world. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Brett, for having me. I hope this information helped your people.